Hello, this is a challenge, not a real challenge, a challenge to yourself per se, of everybody out there that's got a new Nikon camera. You know, they're probably getting into photography, or some people that have been into it for quite some time. You know, you use a lot of modern lenses, and Nikon still does make some old, manual focus prime lenses, not many, and God knows how soon they're going to phase them out, but, you know, it's not about manual focus, but it's about elemental count. And, proven it time and time again. Nobody knows anything about field theory, but glass is a dielectric capacitor. Okay, you can have an extremely sharp image and a zoom tele, like the Tamron 70 to 200. It's very fast, got optical stabilization, but the image are rendered flat, and there's also a lack of blue spectrum rendition that's delivered to the sensor. But you can correct for that in post, but you can also correct for chromatic aberration. Now, one of the big flaws that Nikon and Canon and everybody else is guilty of is creating ultra chromatic free, chromatic aberration free lenses. They're talking about recollimating the light after primary elements, using flint elements to reconverge the RGB spectrum at certain focal points so that chromatic aberration is reduced to a minimum. Part of that is also a design feature of the lens, especially in zooms, but when it comes to primes, they've over-engineered them. There are only really a couple exceptions in current production Nikon lenses. Now, the current production lens of the 135mm is the one that I have, is 135mm f2 DC Nikkor. Now, that has only 7 elements in it. It's also a damn $1,400 lens, $1,400. This lens forever and ever was $90. This is the 3.5 version. Now the 135mm f2.8 has 5 elements. 4 elements, 5 elements, who gives a damn? This one's a little bit more compact. This lens has a little bit of chromatic aberration in it, but it's a 4-element prime. Well, my challenge to you is to borrow one of these from somebody. If it's not the 135, it's something else along the line. You make it an old 50mm f1.8 or 50mm f2 manual focus lens. It doesn't have to be manual focus. I mean, it could be like the 50mm f1.8 autofocus D series. But this little lens here with only floor glass elements that has a wee bit of, by the way, correcting for chromatic aberration is easy. Photoshop, Lightroom, no problem. But what you can't correct for in Photoshop and Lightroom is the depth and the rendering that comes out of these things. There have been no less than thousands of comments that people have been shooting for a long time. Get this, listen to this part, okay? People have been shooting for a long time with the zooms and other complex. I mean, now I've got a 55 to 300, I got this, blah, 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 you know, whatever to whatever. And they're over-engineered. They're plastic. Now, it's a good thing they've actually able to eliminate a lot of the barrel grease, so they've eliminated the haze. That's one design improvement, but this lens will last lifetimes. The worst thing that would happen to it is it got hot and you'd have to re-grease the lens. And that's a 40-minute project to re-grease this. But I mean, this is metal and glass, and that's it, baby. That's it. It's like, well, it's manual focus, it's got a little bit of chromatic aberration in it, one pixel peeping at it at 150%. Borrow one of these lenses. It doesn't have to be 135mm. Borrow one and throw it on your camera, okay? And see the difference, okay? See what I'm talking about when lenses have been over-engineered, and they've all been over-engineered now with very few exceptions. One of the exceptions is that expensive lens I just mentioned to you, is 135mm f2 DC Nikkor, $1,400. Very few people have one of those. They're probably going to stop making it because it's just too damn. It's made in Japan. And that sucker, if you actually know the internal mechanics of it, is a hard sucker to make. It's got a lot of labor in it. There's nothing more expensive on this earth. Japanese labor and German labor. Okay? Expensive! Expensive! So who knows how much longer they're going to be making those. If they do, they might outsource them to Malaysia or Thailand. Quality may remain the same, probably won't, but try one of these old lenses. Okay, one of these lenses will last multiple lifetimes that you pass down to your children, grandchildren. Okay? See what it produces. I want you to see the 3D depth and pop of what these suckers can do. Just borrow one, don't buy one, okay? But, you know, the number of comments were no surprise to me, but the avalanche of comments like, oh my god, I bought this 103mm, or I bought, you know, so-and-so that 180mm prime you recommended, and holy crap, I've been shooting for 20 years, and holy crap, I've never seen depth and color saturation like that. You know what photographers don't know, and including basically every professional photographer, and I mean hardcore professional photographers. They don't know what glass is and what it does to light. They don't. You know, they're not that technically. They're artistic, which is fine. They're a master of their craft. You know, they've got the lenses that they've got. They know what they could do. They're really good at it. They win awards. Their crap is hanging in museums. Fine. But I've met with and shot with some of the best photographers in the world, not recently. Most of them were back in the photography school days. I'd roll in because I went to the second largest photography school, Southeast Center for Photographic Studies, and they'd roll in and we go out and shoot. A lot of time we go out and do a beach shot. They shoot models on the beach in Daytona Beach. And then we'd have studio sessions and jams, and, you know, they don't know. And, you know, most shooters just don't know. They get a kit lens, they get a lens or two, it's like, well, this is as good as it gets. And they think it is, but it's not. So I just beg you to borrow one of these, shoot a few shots with it, and discover what a difference. Even though the prices have jacked up on this lens and ones like it that I've mentioned, you know, it's still worth it. It's still worth it, even though the prices sometimes have doubled. So I just, you know, putting you up to the test, just please try that for your own sake, and get back to me, and let me know, okay? Bye.